Here on Better Sports Network on the Fantasy Slam social channels as well. James, kicking off here Monday, 7-game main slate. We're going to be previewing for everybody here. We have Coors Field on the slate. We have maybe a little weather pop-up issue in Atlanta. So a lot of variables as we work our way into the summer.
Yeah, interesting slate to kick off the week. We love the 7 games. Interesting to see some pitchers taking the mound. Should be a good slate. Um, we have Coors, as you mentioned, and that game opens with Miami as a favorite. I find that quite interesting. We don't really have many spreads, Sean, that are like anything. The only thing of significance on terms of the money line, Luis Castillo minus 300 against Kyle Muller. And I just don't get that. I know Luis Castillo is obviously better than Oakland, but minus 300? Seattle's been that.
It's an
I
interesting movement,
mean,
right? Open minus 290, already up to minus 300. Opened at an 8 over-under, down to 7.5. So I wonder how many people just saw Oakland get complete game shutout thrown against them by
right.
Framber Valdez, and they're like, oh, let's go hit some Seattle.
um, so interesting there. We don't have the Coors over under at the time of this recording, so we'll have to wait there. We do have 9 implied runs in Dodgers and Braves, 8.5 in Tigers and Royals, 8 in Astros, Milwaukee, 7.5 in that Oakland Seattle game you alluded to. Nothing for Boston, LA, nothing for Miami, Colorado, but it is Coors, so just
I am curious a little bit here. We talk a lot about how sometimes DraftKings dupes us with starting pitching. Where we are looking at for our starting pitchers. Let's see here. Does MLB.com so MLB.com has both the Angels starting pitcher and the Rockies starting pitcher as TBD.
Okay.
DraftKings has Chase Anderson and Chase Silseth as the 2 pitchers for Colorado and the Angels here. So be on the lookout for that. Chase Anderson obviously pitched really well in his most recent outing. We were all geared up to stack against him in Cincinnati. 5 innings, 1 earned run in that game. So he could be on the mound here against Miami, but it doesn't seem like we have an official announcement yet by MLB.com at least. And then Chase Silseth here is potentially going to be an opener, it seems like, or starting for the Angels. But again, no official.
ESPN has them both. ESPN has them both for the record. I also see MLB.com in the same as you do.
Yeah.
But on
ESPN.com has both.
ESPN.com, they have both pitchers.
So something just to watch there as we break down this slate here. That could change or stay the same, but we don't have totals at least on those, on those sites because no official starting pitcher has seemingly been announced. They could just be projecting much like DraftKings is here. Right. So just something to take into account there. But that said, let's get into our pitching here. 7 games. Christian Javier is at your top at $10,000 up against the Milwaukee Brewers in Milwaukee. Charlie Morton's at home against the Dodgers at $9,400. Luis Castillo, as you mentioned, only $9,200 here at home against Oakland, and Corbin Burns is at home against Houston at $9K. Your top 4 pitches up over $9,000 today.
Yeah, I mean, Javier's been great, so I have no problem getting to him at 10K. I know it's a tougher matchup against Milwaukee, but I mean, he's been so good for all but one start this year. The strikeouts are there. The damage has basically been limited. The home runs, he's given up a lot of home runs, but nothing overly damaging. 22 plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 5 starts. So I'm okay getting to Javier. I love what Charlie Morton has done, but I don't think we can really get there against the Dodgers. That's a very tough spot. If you want to be contrarian, by all means do so. The field is going to go to Luis Castillo. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, given the matchup. And you know what? Luis Castillo hasn't been great. He's only paid off this price tag a couple of times this year. I will say Oakland, and you and I have talked about it a couple of times. We like Oakland, but they're just much better against lefties. Their lineup is better against left-handed pitching, so I'm okay.
Highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching is Oakland this year, 26%, a 215 average, 291 WOBA, 139 ISO. So some pretty weak numbers there. And we talk about, listen, you're right. We do like Milwaukee. We generally like Milwaukee righties against weaker pitching, right? So They have a lot of lefty bats in their lineup. They don't strike out a ton. They're right in the middle of the pack there in strikeout rate against right-handed pitching at 23%. But against an elite strikeout pitcher or a guy that can be an elite strikeout pitcher, I do lean that, and probably makes him a really good pivot off of Castillo here.
Right.
The Dodgers are one of the best teams against right-handed pitching across the board. Over 200 ISO, nothing we want to deal with there. What about Corbin Burnes? Any interest here at all? I know Houston is scary-ish, but as I tweeted out earlier today, James Kaprielian was basically no-hitting them for 5 innings. So it wasn't until the A's bullpen came in did anything really get done there. Corbin Burnes is a former Cy Young Award winner. Current form, Corbin Burnes is looking pretty okay, right? Yep. So, what do you think an ownership percentage would be on Corbin Burnes here at home against Houston?
If I were to he'd probably be, of these top guys, third. I would say Castillo, Javier, Burnes, Morton. That's how I would guess they would slot in ownership, which obviously is a good contrarian pivot to a Castillo who has probably pitched worse than Corbin Burnes overall. Right. I think Corbin Burnes is a nice pivot. Just like you said, it is obviously one pitcher is facing Oakland and one is pitching Houston with basically a full lineup for Houston.
Right. Yep, 100%. Tier below: Alex Cobb, Bailey Ober, Michael Lorenzen, who you picked up in our seasonal league, and Tanner Houck, Brady Singer, sort of that mid-tier range. Obviously, we have 2 pitchers up over 8K. We got 3 pitchers in the 7K range here. Lorenzen, against Kansas City, is that more appealing to you than a Cobb versus Minnesota or an Ober versus San Francisco?
Kansas City is bottom 3 in basically every statistical category against right-handed pitching. They also strike out a boatload against right-handed pitching. I think the 7 strikeouts was a little bit of an anomaly for Lorenzen, just considering he hasn't missed a lot of bats this year. Mm-hmm. The starts prior, yes, he had 6 in his debut, but 3, 1, 5, 4 strikeouts in the 4. He's not
those ground ball outs.
The ground
10,
balls,
12 and 12.
That's where Lorenzen makes his. He has the hard sinker, and he's looked really good in his last 3 starts. He's getting deep into games. He's throwing a lot of pitches. So I could definitely see myself getting to Lorenzen. I know San Francisco continues to be good, but so does Bailey Ober, dude. Right. He is, and I think we were all kind of well, what is Bailey Ober now that he has to face the Dodgers? Well, he blanked the Dodgers. 1 run over 6 innings. That's your litmus test right there. Whether you what you're going to keep doing, because when you face Washington, Kansas City, Cleveland, to some extent San Diego, it's not murderer's row, but the Dodgers are. Especially in the midst of the Dodgers winning a lot of games lately. So I love Bailey Ober 8,100. He was just 8,500 last start. Allowed 1 earned run to one of the best teams in baseball, and they were like, you know what? I think we should drop his price $400. So I like Ober. I like Lorenzen. Probably can't get to Tanner Houck. I know he was good for us in that. For a 4 in 5 innings, right? Then he come out for the 6th
5
inning
innings, 4 earned, ended up getting tagged onto him. Wasn't all his fault. The bullpen came in and just unloaded there, unfortunately, on him there. We were chatting up. We're like, dude, this is a money great spot right here. I agree with you. Probably don't pin this one back. Too much power in that lineup, and Ohtani and let's see. Ohtani pitched today. Do you think he's in the lineup tomorrow, or do you think he gets a day off?
Well, we saw Trout get the day off 2 games ago, or 3. He got a game off over the weekend. Probably Ohtani. Yeah, if Ohtani's not in the lineup, maybe you look to Houck. But
what's more appealing to you, Houck or Brady Singer, who the last 2 starts has actually looked decent-ish?
Dude, he was so good last year. Right? It just fell off.
If he's figuring it out now, he is not a $7,000 pitcher, right?
Correct.
So against
has
Detroit,
been a little better.
There's some interest. There could be something. The strikeout numbers could be better, but Chicago and San Diego, not big strikeout teams. Detroit, we know, generally better against left-handed pitching. On the year against right-handed pitching, Detroit's 25th in WOBA.
Right.
They have let's see, what's their ISO against right-handed pitching? They rank 29th in ISO. The biggest issue, I guess, is they don't strike out, surprisingly. Detroit against right-handed pitching, there's a 19.5% strikeout rate. So, sorry, that's over the last 2 weeks, those numbers. So, last 2 weeks, they're not striking out, but they're not getting on base at all. They're just abysmal. On the season, they have the 8th highest strikeout rate at 24%, and their numbers are equally as bad. Dead last in WOBA. OPS, they're dead last. Isolated power, they're 28th. Batting average, they are 27th. So 3 straight starts for good starts for Brady Singer, maybe on the way. Pair him up with Castillo.
He's had 4 good starts and 5 bad starts. There's been nothing in between. It's just been good or bad.
He's either been very usable or not usable. So.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's given us 20 fantasy point upside this year. I still think he's a better pitcher than this. The strikeouts have been a little concerning because they're not. I mean, they've,
Yeah, he also hasn't. I mean, he hasn't been in games long enough to also rack up a lot of strikeouts too. Sometimes, so not helping his cause. But I don't mind it. I definitely think Brady Singer is going to be in my player pool. I mean, heck, I wrote up Patrick Corbin on Saturday. So at this point, everything's on the table. So. Anybody else for you? I mean, if Anderson, no.
Move on.
Stone,
move on.
Wheeler, okay.
Move on.
All right, catcher position. Salvi, $5,100, keeps hitting bombs.
Dude, he's hitting 40 again this year. I don't know.
Let's try to trade for him in our league there. Hasn't had a reply yet. Probably not going to go well though. We'll see. Let's see here. Murphy's at 5K. I don't know, man. I don't really love a lot of these catcher matchups here.
Yeah.
Not the strongest catcher spot.
If Raleigh plays, he gets Kyle Mueller here. He had neck spasm, so obviously that could continue. Darno homered on Sunday, hits in 3 straight. I would go to Darno against Stone. If there is a contrarian spot, it's playing Oakland. Shea Langoliers has been significantly better against right-handed pitching. Luis Castillo coming off bad start after bad start. It's not, again, this isn't a guy who's coming into the start pitching great. I mean, 4 earned, 3 earned, 5 earned. The last 3 starts, he's allowed 6 home runs over his last 4 starts. This isn't a guy pitching at his peak ability. Sure. Langoliers has power against right-handed pitching, so I would consider Langoliers. I would consider whatever catcher starts for in both on both sides of the Boston LA game. Whatever catchers are starting, all in play.
Tom Murphy's heating up.
Tom Murphy is heating up, and he's going to play, and he's going to probably play. And he's going to play because if Raleigh doesn't, now I did play Tom Murphy on Sunday. He did let me down big time. That's much like Seattle has every single time they've been on a field this year.
Yeah.
But I would definitely go to Tom Murphy if he's in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you. First base position here. Again, Ohtani is up there. Love Matt Olson, though, 5,200. If that ends up being a game that plays, again, we're looking at some weather. It's supposed to rain pretty much all day in Atlanta, but right around first pitch. Weather, at least based off weather.com, seems like it starts to clear up a bit. We all know all the time, summer-ish months in Atlanta, pop-up storms, weather systems sort of linger. So we'll update everybody on the Atlanta weather situation when we go live at 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday, breaking everything down there. But I do love Matt Olson here at $5,200. Pasquantino, we're always kind of big fans of his at $4,100 is there. If France will ever break out of a slump, maybe it happens against Kyle Mueller. He's $3,900. You have Moustakas at 37 against Cabrera, who's been playing pretty much every day for this team since CJ Cron went down. So a lot of interesting names here, but not always the best matchups.
Yeah, I don't love this tier necessarily after Olsen. I hate Garrett Cooper at 5K, truthfully. I'm probably not going to get there. Moose was on the loose a little bit on Sunday. Moose has been getting a little loose lately, John, for you.
Give him more consistent playing time. So
Kirilloff homered again on Sunday. Like, this dude is a freaking monster. I would go there. 34. I know Alex Cobb is good, but um, Prado hit second on Sunday. I think he moves probably back down the lineup. Maybe an interesting arrival to the Angels lineup is Jared
Jared
Walsh.
Walsh. Yeah.
Yeah, $2,300.
I like that.
I'm not
Honestly.
a. It's pretty good. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
against attacking Tanner Houck. I know, like, look, honestly, the only like reliable pitcher for the Red Sox right now is James Paxton.
Yeah. It could be a punt spot. You could go Walsh, could go Cassis in that same
Yeah,
spot.
same game. Yeah, they're both. I think this game is very, very stackable.
Yeah.
Very, very stackable.
Yeah.
Silseth was not good last year. Lefties have given Houck all the issues this year. 810 OPS, 343 WOBA. So
Yeah, Walsh hit what, 30 home runs a couple years ago?
yeah, Jared Walsh is a good player. He's a good player. And he can't hit lefties for anything, but he hits righties very, very well.
Which works out well for them because they have Brandon Drury on this team. So
Correct.
yeah. Second base position. Estrada's your top guy there at 57. Altuve back in the line at 51. Araz, singles hitter, but Coors 55. Your top price guys. I don't think I'm paying up for any of those three though.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Mid-tier range. Kind of gross. Albies, I think you can always just kind of throw into an Atlanta stack, even though it's not the right split that we generally play him at. He's 47. I mean, I commented on McKinstry to you the other day, and he homered. Stole a bag today.
Yep. Yeah, he's fine.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Not I mean, he was off in the Saturday game, so like he's pretty much every game he's starting, he's doing something. So
Emmanuel Valdez homered off of our guy there, Joe
Musgrove.
Musgrove. So did not do much at all in today's game, 0 for 2, but a little power potentially are removed from Sunday's game for precautionary reasons. So guess we have to wait and see if he'll even be in the lineup. So something to pay attention to there. Jeez.
Harold Castro.
Pablo Reyes. Right?
Pablo Reyes. Yeah, Pablo Reyes. Harold Castro, second base, hitting 379 over his last 10 games in Coors. And Xavier Edwards for the Marlins, switch hitter, second base outfielder. He's playing pretty much every day right now with all their injuries. So he's a fast dude. $2,700 Xavier Edwards would also.
All right. Third base position here. Devers is your top guy at 59. You have Muncy at 52. Riley under 5K at 49. McMahon and Coors at 48. Bregman's at 46.
All of them. Devers is elite as it gets. Muncy, we know, like, no one's going to play him in this game. He's going to double down because that's what he's done literally all year. You can play McMahon 48. He's heating up in Coors. Not going to. It's just Bregman.
Not doing Bregman. Suarez at 4K against lefty Muir.
Here's the thing. The Mariners had such a good lefty matchup on Sunday, and they did nothing. The numbers suggest that they're going to turn around. They all have very good numbers against lefties, but they just don't put it together in the same game. Like, I'm okay getting to Suarez, but here comes another situation. A chalky Seattle team that's just not good offensively, and a bad pitcher is going to shut them down. Like, I in theory, I am interested, but I'm preparing myself for what's going to happen.
Sure. Casey Smith just keeps hitting. Sold back today as well.
Yeah, and stealing bases now. Like, he's just the GOAT.
So I don't hate that spot for him there. I got nothing else down here though.
Would you have interest in Segura if he let off? It's hitting 204.
Yeah, so leadoff hitter in Coors is always interesting, but he's
hitting 204.
200. So probably not, but maybe. Shortstop. Some good talent here, right? Robbie Witt at top of 54. Pena is a tough spot at 48. Where else are we going?
Yeah, Bobby Witt's fine. Jeremy Pena, 48. I could get to Javi at no, he's back to being nothing. Birdie, I guess, 45. Okay, so maybe we see John Birdie lead off. 3 for 5 his last game. 313 over his last 10. I guess John Birdie would probably be the first
Sure.
place I'd go. Like, oof, another terrible position, John.
Yeah,
Terrible.
not
We could play
not
Casey
really.
Schmidt here. We could play Casey Schmidt here.
I mean, honestly, right? You might as
Yeah.
well.
Joey Wendell.
Smaller slates, we talk about this all the time. It gets a little tough. Joey Wendell at 26.
Did you see this dude? Hold on, I got it. We missed him at
Nato?
second. No,
Nato,
no.
$2,300.
Jose Caballero. Did you
Yeah.
see the day that he had on Sunday?
3 stolen bases. That's nice.
And a home run. And a walk.
1 for 1, a walk, a home run, 3 stolen bases.
I don't know.
He's got 4 stolen bases the last 10. He's got 6 on the season. Sure.
I don't know. They need like
Sure.
any influx of offense, right?
Sure.
Like any offense.
Hold on, hurt, right? No, he's right there.
No, he's just no. I mean, he might as well. He might as well be hurt. He's terrible.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I'm in on that. That's fine. We're on shortstop, right? Nato's not bad at 23.
Yeah, Nato. Yeah, Nato works.
Outfield position here.
Outfield we go.
Top guys: Acuna, Ohtani, Alvarez, Trout, Betts, Yoshida, all there.
I wouldn't play any of them. Obviously, I'd play all of
them. I mean, Trout's fine. Ohtani's good. Acuna's good. I don't know if I'd go with Jordan.
Yeah, probably not. Jordan and Mookie are the contrarian, and Yoshida is $5,800, huh? I mean, like, I'm not saying that he hasn't been great, but this to make this price bump like in the stretch that he's in is kind of a wild ride. They had a 19 game hit streak to get him there, and now he's like, hitting 250 over his last 10 games, and they're like, you know what? This is the perfect time to make him $5,800.
Well, I mean, he was over 4K for a bit, but it's been a little bit since he's homered. Power wise, did steal a bag on Saturday though, so that's good.
I'm not like saying I wouldn't play him. I'm just saying that like they had a full month and a half to get him to this price, and they waited until he had his like worst stretch of the year to get him.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Rodriguez, speaking of guys that have been struggling, $56.
Yeah, just good luck. Like I don't know what to make of this team, man. I don't know. Everyone hits Kyle Mueller. If you don't hit him, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Seattle's going to be popular. They're going to be who everyone pairs with Coors or fades Coors for. But like Julio Rodriguez is hitting 222 against lefties this year with a 307 WOBA. Like,
what is the real Julio Rodriguez last year or this year? That's the question.
Right. I mean, obviously, I think me and everyone else who paid $60+ in him in auction are hoping that it was last year, and he's just having a Mark Teixeira-esque start to his season, because Mark Teixeira every year was like terrible, and then June came. So here's what I'll say: Julio Rodriguez, okay, average 209, expected batting average 264, so 55 points higher than his current batting average. His slug 384. Expected slug for Julio Rodriguez, 461. WOBA, 295. Expected WOBA, 341. All numbers better than they would be last year. So, like, I don't know, like, is he just getting unlucky? He has a 263 BABIP? That feels pretty unlucky. Like, he has a 38% hard hit rate. His fly balls there's more fly balls this year than there was last year.
At some point, the real Julio Rodriguez will stand up, right?
The strikeout rate is obviously elevated. The walk rate, though, is elevated. Like, I'm now talking myself into this is unlucky.
Julio Rodriguez.
Teoscar
Hernandez. Cabello,
Kelnick. Tom Murphy.
Just 3 lineups, all variations of Seattle. Jorge Soler, does he hit one out of course? What do you think? What's the money line on hitting one out of the stadium?
plus 150.
Dude, he had 4 hits
If
today
you,
against San Francisco, including a homer. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, he looks like the guy that he was that final year. Was it the
he
Kansas
had
City year
50.
where he hit 40? Yeah, he hit 50. Like that's the power that looks like to be on display. I mean, this is a World Series MVP, a guy with 50 home runs. Like he is
Yep.
a good baseball player.
Riley Green continues to hit the ball pretty well. 350, 947,
Sure does.
525.
Homered on the day that you called him out, and I was like, "No, there's no
Yeah,
power." And then he
well,
homered,
yeah,
and
it's
then
fine. Brady Singer's his spot there. Verdugo's 45. I don't mind that. We're gonna lead off.
I would just go back to both those Rockies. By the way,
Grichuk,
I don't know if you I didn't think you
Brian and
mentioned
Blackman.
them. Yeah, I would get to either one of them. Righties have been significantly better against Edward
Yeah.
Cabrera this year. 850 OPS, 380 WOBA. So like Bryant, Grishik, I would play both of them, both hitting over 300
Sure.
against righties this year. And Blackman, you said it, I think last week, right? Like we just haven't played him, but he's
Yeah.
been pretty good. So
No, you just think of him as old now, right? He's
yep,
$5,000, but
yep.
you're like, but then you look. I mean, only 3 home runs on the year, none in the last 10, but he's
No stolen bases
but
anymore, where it
4
used to
doubles,
be
a
30
triple,
30.
8 runs scored. It's scoring points for you. Duran is $3,800. That's kind of interesting there. Yaz
Yep.
is 38. Melendez is 37. Brian De La Cruz, another guy with power at 37.
Yep. Yep. I think he's a core play. He's
Yeah,
been
he's
awesome.
been great. 3 homers and a stolen base the last 10. So $3,700 Coors exposure. I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat that.
Yep.
You mentioned
Yep.
Teoscar's 36. Estoy Ruiz, dude, stolen bases every day. Every day stolen bases.
Yes. How many is he going to steal this year?
60. He's got 20. He's got
70?
24.
70?
Maybe.
He has 24 in
Right.
48 games. So if he plays 150 games, his pace is
Yeah.
72.
Yeah.
Dude. I just don't understand why I don't understand how his price hasn't
Because he's on the A's. They
skyrocketed.
don't. Same reason Brent Rooker never goes above like 4K, right?
I know, but it just feels this
And
just
he's
is
hitting
wrong. Like he
two
should,
hits and 4
yeah.
straight until today. I mean, he still stole a bag.
Where
I
he's
mean,
I know where he doubles and still steals a base.
how did he steal third? He must have stole third. Like,
Yeah,
he is just running,
fastest
running
player
at
in baseball.
all costs. So $3,500 for a story feels great. You've been in on Doyle for a while.
Yep.
$3,500 for him.
And righties are what's given Edward Cabrera the
Yep,
issues.
100%. Let's see here. Any other straight values that you're in on here?
I mean, Xavier Edwards, we mentioned second base. You
Yeah.
could play him in the
Ozuna, I
outfield.
guess.
Azuna, Mickey
Yeah.
Moniak, if he leads off again. The issue is watch out how they use their lineup. They pinch hit Taylor Ward for him a few
Sure.
times. So if Ward's not in the lineup, we obviously have to pay attention to that. Matt Vierling, I think he homered the other day in the same
Eddie
game. I
Rosario's
mean,
$2,500. That's not bad.
Eddie Rosario, 25. Like Stone is a good prospect. It's just not a
Sure.
good spot. Like it's just not
I
a
agree.
great spot. You know who's been pretty good? Akil Badu has been okay lately. Had a monster game the other day. Homered, 4 RBI, stolen base, but 320 over his last 10 games. He was a fun
3
player.
walks today. I mean, just not
Anytime,
great as walking everybody, but
true. He's a fun player that just can't hit
okay.
lefties and like struggled and got sent down because of it. I don't hate getting to Badu if you're not getting to
All right.
Singer because like I think both of us like Singer,
Sure.
but
All right, let's get a lineup out. Are we doing cores and no cores? We got about a minute.
we could do Coors. Let's do Javier
Lorenzen
and
or Singer?
Lorenzen.
Lorenzen or
Yeah.
Singer? Pick one. All right, and then
Lorenzen.
we go on Brian De
Lorenzen.
La Cruz.
Brian De La Cruz. We could do Xavier Edwards maybe at second. We'll do a Coors in Seattle. We could go Teoscar Hernandez. Eugenio Suarez, unless we wanted to play
Suarez is
McMahon.
fine. What was the uh Colabello? Is he a second baseman? Is that the problem was? Second base?
He's a second. Yeah, he's a second and shortstop. Shortstop was a brutal position.
I'm just like spelling his name incorrectly here.
It's CAB.
There it is.
ELL.
Love it. Okay, second baseman then.
We could do Edwards at second, or we could do
Okay, Edwards works. Okay. Catcher. We might as well just try and fit in our top two guys here, right? Soler.
Soler and J-Rod.
Yep. All right. 4250 for the remaining catcher and
first base. We could play. Do you want to play Olsen as a one-off here?
Sure. Yep. Olsen
and then we have a punt catcher.
Tom Murphy, $3,300.
Yeah, let's do Tom Murphy or Connor Wong.
Yeah, we'll be able to pivot off it. So we'll have $800 left over. We're doing Javier over Castillo. I could pivot down. Lorenzen, Murphy, Olsen, Edwards, Suarez, Caballero. I butcher that name all the time. Brian De La Cruz, Jorge Soler, and Julio Rodriguez. $800 left over. James and I will be live again at 5 o'clock Eastern.